Hello everybody and welcome back to Brno. Yes, we are about to go into a brand new territory for the series. Our Young Drivers Test is underway as we have got every one of our teams, bar two, have elected to put new drivers into the fray. I'm Jake Sanson. We're getting ourselves ready for action as the cars are heading out on circuit, and there's a whole new host of drivers as each team have been offered the chance to submit two drivers to have a go around the Brno circuit for this 1 hour session. Don't worry folks, in 45 minutes time we will be pausing to give a round of applause to the NHS who have been absolutely incredible during COVID-19. However, we are also going to have a little bit of a preview as to what to expect from the Group C challenge. As you can see, there are a few new names on the graphic in front, and the eagle-eyed amongst you will have noticed that there is a new cockpit graphic as well for the remainder of the series. Yes, we have done an upgrade for the next half of the season. I'm Jake Sanson, and I'm in the commentators' green room with the team managers and principals who are chatting away, hopefully over the course of the next hour, about all things GP2 related, and of course our Downforce Grand Prix World Series. Let's go first of all to Phil Kinch of the AGS team. Now, you have submitted two very interesting drivers for this particular category.
Yes, I have. Sorry, Jay. Yeah, just like technical bit on my side. So I've gone for a mixture of youth and experience for the young driver test. Today, I've chosen youth in the shape of young Pietro Fittipaldi. And going to see how he goes today after the miserable performances of my two drivers. We won't discuss that further. And I'm also entering experience in the form of a gentleman who drove a Formula One car 15 years ago, which will be a certain Andy Prix, three-time World Touring Car Champion, 2004 European Touring Car Champion. And yeah, we're going to see how he goes as well.
So it's a bit different, and obviously it gives two new drivers a chance to have a go at these cars. We'll see how they get on over the course of the session. Over to Scott Woodwiss and the Simtech team. You've gone for a very radical driver lineup for the Young Driver Test.
Yeah, we have. We've gone for two drivers who have been very successful in their respective fields of racing over the last sort of few seasons. See if either one of them are potentially worthy of having a go in a car at some point later on this year. So we've chosen a driver who was on the path to Formula One, but before his sort of dream got cut short by a team pretty much stalling out before it even got going, which is the Argentinian multiple World Touring Car Champion and current Toyota World Endurance driver, Jose Maria Lopez. And we've also decided to offer up a drive to the five-time IndyCar champion New Zealander Scott Dixon, who last tested an F1 car back in 2004, and that was at the wheel of a Williams with the walrus tusk nose. So see how both of them get on, and if they do some good work in this particular test session, then there might be an option to possibly get them on board for a race or two going forwards. But that depends on if we go forwards with that. So let's wait and see.
There are a few team bosses who are not able to attend, although they certainly attend the green room. They're too busy working on their driver lineups for the Young Driver Test. Dave Goddard, though, submitted two youngsters, I say youngsters, into the 40 lineup. Zsolt Baumgartner, the Hungarian, is going to be at the wheel during this session, as is the very first Stig. Perry McCarthy has been given the keys to the 40 life for this Young Driver session. So great to see a combination of Grand Prix experience on track and other bits and pieces as well. So it is looking very, very slick out there as the competitors are battling away around the circuit. That is Zsolt Baumgartner who puts the first lap in, a 1:38.9. That's about 2 seconds off the pace that we saw from pole position set earlier on in the weekend by Jean-Eric Vergne, who of course won the Brno Grand Prix earlier on. So it's looking very, very neat and tidy, and a very good start to proceedings. So already looking pretty exciting and slick. Topher Smith is here on the pit wall with the Super Aguri team. So tell me about the Super Aguri package for this Friday test session. You've gone for two hot drivers as well.
Well, first of my two drivers is a veteran of Formula One. He raced from 1997 until 2007. Scored his first of 3 podiums at the 1997 British Grand Prix, only his third start in Formula One. and took another 2 podiums, one with McLaren and one with Williams. It is, of course, the versatile Austrian Alexander Wurz. A very experienced head there. I'm sure he'll bring lots of input to the team to help us develop the car. And the second one is a young up-and-coming star. He spent the last few seasons in Formula 2. He's won a few races there. Been knocking on the door of Formula 1 for a while, but hasn't quite reached there until now. We're happy to give him a test today. It is the Italian Luca Giotto. We're very excited to have him in the car.
Well, it's going to be very interesting to see how he goes. Also interesting, out on the circuit in the BAR Play Life, that won the race earlier on today in the hands of Jean-Eric Vergne, and that has also seen Sebastian Buemi struggle, and his seat is up for grabs. Kazuki Nakajima is one of the 2 BAR drivers to have gone out on circuit in this young driver test, and he is absolutely rapid. He's done a 1:36.6 in his first lap out on track. So Kazuki Nakajima definitely wants this race seat. So he's obviously putting in some mileage in order to get this seat to be his. So it will be very interesting to see how it works out in his favour. And also down in the pits, oh, there's that dodgy camera again. Tom Cairns has got 2 very experienced drivers in the Prost lineup. Tell us about who you've put forward.
Well, I've decided to go for a bit of a youth and a bit of not very, very talented. One of which is Stefan Sarazan, the ex-Prost test driver. So I think, given his bus car from back in his days, 7 as test driver for before he had his sole racing spot with Minardi in Brazil. I felt that, given his versatility, I wanted to give him a chance to see how he would fare in comparison to how De La Rosa and Alguersuari had done earlier today. In regards to the other driver taking part in this test is the Brazilian Felipe Nasr, who's been through a lot of different categories, actually. I mean, as you well know him from his Sauber days in F1 for 2 years, from 2015 to 16. He's been taking part in a few Formula E races a year ago, and he's been involved, I think it's called the IMSA series that he's been involved in. So he's been through a lot as Nasr, actually. And just like with Saracen, I wanted to give him a chance to see how he would fare times-wise and the mileage that he puts on the board, to give me options as to what I want to do for the remainder of the year and possibly for next year. So we felt that with the options available, Saracen and Nasr were the best fit for the team for this test.
All sounds pretty exciting, so hopefully that's going to go very well indeed. You've also spotted Guido van der Garde in the Arrows out there on the circuit, and he's going to be teamed up with the Mexican star Esteban Gutierrez out on the circuit. Over to Sam Hall, who's got his own ideals as to which of the 2 pilots are going to be in the manor over the course of the hour-long session. Tell us who's going to be out on track.
Yeah, so we've gone for 2 kind of extremes. We've gone for a very, very, very successful MotoGP rider, Marc Marquez. He previously drove the Toro Rosso in a test, so we've given him an opportunity to show us what he can do. And we've also gone for W Series driver Jess Hawkins, who has, obviously she had quite a successful year in W Series last year. We'll be racing in it again, hopefully when it gets going this year. And she's also driven Formula 1 cars at show runs doing donuts. So, I mean, we saw earlier from both Brendan and Lucas that they're both proficient at donuts. So why not add another donut-loving driver into the roster? At the moment, we're not sure about making changes. I mean, Lucas is sitting 4th in the championship, so I would say Lucas is fairly safe, but Brendan's finished 2 races, admittedly 2 of the last 3, but he could be in danger if either of the 2 drivers today show us that they can go quicker and step it up a notch.
So it is fascinating as Alexander Wurz takes the Super Aguri out on the circuit. Good to see him in a Grand Prix car again. And he is out on circuit putting that machine through its paces. I did promise you on the chatter that we're going to be giving you some information about the Group C sports cars as well, which is the next season campaign that we're going to be running for managers if you are up for it. So we'll make sure to let you know how that is all faring. So we'll be showing you those details over the course of the next hour or so as well. Alex Goldschmidt, however, has come out fighting with his Minardi team lineup for the Young Drivers Test. You've gone for experience and two of the greatest sports car racers of the last 2 decades.
Yes, most notably with Audi Sport thereof. I felt it was definitely, to have a bit more experience on the team, obviously with Anthony's unfortunate departure after today's race. We have the man that they simply call Mr. Le Mans, Tom Christensen, 6-time 12-hour Sebring winner and 9-time 24-hour Le Mans winner as well. He's also taken the 2013 FIA WEC title, the American Le Mans Series in 2001. And for those that might remember his Formula 3 days, he took a title in 93 in Japan and then in 91 in Germany. But he's also, in the last 2 years at the Goodwood Revival, he won the inaugural Kinrara Trophy in the Ferrari 250 GT and then was second in the E-Type in 2017. And the other person really needs no introduction when you say Little Scottish Terrier. I am talking, of course, about Alan McNish, who is currently now in his tenure as the Audi Sport Ab Schiffler Formula E team principal. He raced with Toyota in 2002 for a full season before becoming Renault's test driver the following season. He's won Le Mans 3 times, 3-time American Le Mans Series titles, 5-time Sebring 12 hours, and both of them know each other very, very well. So I'm expecting a very, very close battle between these two, because the best out of these two will get the seat, and they've both shown willing and they're both motivated to do.
Well, there's going to be some interesting other drivers coming out. Just to give you an idea of some more competitors in the lineup, as well as Jolt Baumgartner and Perry McCarthy even, from the 40 course team. BMS Scuderia Italia are going to put out the talented young Italian star Raffaele Marcello, as well as DTM legend and champion Gary Paffett. He will also be part of the lineup. Over at Onyx, they're really going for it. They've got Indy 500 winner Takuma Sato is going to come out onto the circuit, as is the motorcycle legend himself, Valentino Rossi. So that'll be interesting to see how he goes, and who's going to outpace the other will also be fascinating. We've also made mention of some of the others that are out there on the circuit, but 2 of the teams elected not to put drivers forward for the Young Drivers Test, namely the Lola Cosworth and Midland Toyota teams. So they've decided to sit out this particular event, clearly feeling that their driver lineup is fine as it is. But the other 11 teams have all elected to put new faces into the lineups coming into this particular event. Now, I did promise you that we're going to be giving you some details about the Group C Challenge. So while these couple of drivers are out on circuit, and Wirtz, who's just done a 1:36.3, that's very impressive. We'll keep an eye on that as things go, obviously, and come back to the action in a couple of minutes. But this is just to give you an idea as to the teams that you'll be able to manage during Group C. Now, some of the teams have already gone. I should point that out. And we'll be telling you about those particular competitors first and foremost. But let's give you an update on some of the teams that you can manage. GSR Gebhardt is one of them. You can see all the details and all the rules for how the category is going to work alongside the screen there. But GSR Gebhardt, one of the teams. The TWR Jaguar USA Junior team, I should point out, that has been taken. So that has been claimed by Dave Goddard, who is the manager of the 40 Live team. So TWR Jaguar USA. Conrad Lamborghini is still up for grabs if a particular team manager wants to take it over. And that car is going to have an awful lot of work behind it. The Yost Porsche, the legendary yellow, white and black machine, is definitely up for grabs if anybody wants to take ownership of that particular team. Kramer Porsche with their Kenwood livery. And it is absolutely fantastic. If anybody wants a decent hi-fi or a toaster in their paddock, you'll definitely get it over at Kramer. The Veneto Equipo Lancia, an absolutely fabulous machine, and that is up for anybody. It's basically our Ferrari in our particular championship. It's as close to. The Lancia Martini racing car is up for grabs as well. If anybody wants to take over that particular team in the Group C Challenge, you're more than welcome to. As is the Mazda Speed. Sorry, the Mazda Speed has now been claimed by Ryan Ferris. So Ryan Ferris will be managing the Mazda Speed effort. The Novo Nissan Nippon, though, that is the Nissan car from Japan. That is up for grabs if anybody wants to claim it. It is totally up to you. The Nissan competition car, that is claimed by Alex Goldschmidt, who will be running the Nissan squad to greatness in the Group C Sports Car Challenge. And it'll be interesting to see what drivers he comes up with. Repsol Brun Porsche, that beautiful machine with the Spanish backing, that is very much available. So if anybody wants to claim it, they certainly can. Peugeot Sport, that's been taken by Scott Woodwis, who'll be running that team in absolutely fantastic style. And there are other teams, of course, available. Sauber Mercedes, though, is also gone. And there is a radical driver lineup coming from Sam Hall, who is going to be running that particular squad. Get ready, because it's going to be absolutely magic. Sard Toyota, the Japanese team, they will be running the SARD, or SARD, as it's nicknamed, of course. That team is up for grabs, as is the Euro Racing Spice. If anybody wants to run that, you are more than welcome to. All you have to do is put £5 in the pot at PayPal to book your place. The first 13 entries get to choose their team. The Schippen Porsche has come through as well. If anybody wants to take over that, you're more than welcome to. And the Tom's Toyota Motorsport, that is the Works Toyota. So that is up for grabs as well if anybody wants to run that particular car. It's one of the later builds. Also the All-American Racers Toyota, that is up for grabs as well. And obviously that ran Juan Manuel Fangio II in IndyCar, that squad. BRM has now been claimed, I should point out. The beautiful BRM is going to have a year of development in the hands of Tom Cairns, who has a bit of history with the BRM name, of course. TWR Jaguar Racing, well, that's going the way of Edward Hunter. He gets the claim on that particular squad, and I'm really interested to see what drivers he puts forward with the Jaguar. The Courage Cougar is also up for grabs if anybody wants to take ownership of it. They are more than welcome to. The French entry, very fast car, that one. The Chevrolet Spice, the American car, that is obviously one that people will want to have a go for. And then, of course, there is also the ALD Descartes. That is an interesting machine, that one. It's one of the back markers from the Group C days. But hey, you could engineer it to victory. Dyson Racing Porsche, the American squad, with their Porsche 962C team variation. That's one that's up for grabs if anybody wants to run it. And, of course, the Euro Racing Lola with its Japanese insignia. It's basically the Japanese arm of Euro Racing. And the car is pretty rapid in the right hands. And finally, the Pontiac from America. It is another of the manufacturer-backed entries, and that one looks absolutely spectacular. So now you've got an idea of the different teams that are available in Group C. I'm going to bring some of the other team managers in on this one. What do you guys think about it? Starting with Sam Hall. You've obviously got the Sauber Mercedes team that you're coming. What do you think of that team lineup?
Yeah, I mean, it's just iconic with these cars. You go through the whole lineup of cars, and I don't think there's a single bad one amongst the bunch of them. You say any of these names and you can pretty much imagine them all straight away. I mean, obviously I'm going to say I think I've got the most iconic of them all. I've got the Sauber Mercedes, sort of the plain grey, and the yellow head, or the yellow wing mirrors. It's just iconic, and obviously one of my drivers is so intrinsically associated with that car, it's unbelievable.
And of course, there are plenty of other teams up for grabs. Scott Woodwis, you've obviously claimed your absolute favourite, the Peugeot Sport, but some of the teams that are in that lineup, Lancia Martini, Yost Porsche, the Tom's Toyota, the Castrol Jaguar, the Mazda Speed. I mean, these are the great racing cars of our childhood.
Oh yeah, these. It was Group C was just before, kind of when I came into the world. It was coming towards the tail end of what Group C was, and for me growing up, the Peugeot was the one that I adored. I used to sit and watch the 1993 in Le Mans 24 Hours. The last year that Group C was allowed to race at Le Mans, it was the last year of that category, and it was Peugeot versus Toyota, and it was those beautiful sounding 3.5 litre V10s. So I'm really pleased that I get to run and manage the Peugeot team. I'm pleased that we get to hear some V10s back on the circuit once again in that sort of guise. And I've already looked at and selected my driver lineup as well, and I think it'll be one that will certainly be one that will be up there to challenge Sam in terms of one that's got quite a lot of experience and one that possibly could turn a few heads. So, well, the whole point of the competition is that we bring back some amazing vintage racing cars, and we bring a spirit of competition and a love of motorsport back to the world. Obviously, COVID-19 has obviously meant that racing is curtailed, but we can have a lot of fun, and our fantasy motor racing league can really give us a lot of fun and a lot of banter
And obviously, because there are 26 teams available, there will be 2 grids, Group A and Group B, or Class A and Class A. Otherwise, if we add the fact that it's a Group C category, that's just going to add confusion. And at the end of each race, the top 3 drivers, top 3 teams, from Class B will be elevated to Class A, and the bottom 3 teams from Class A will be demoted to Class B, and that will happen race by race. So you've got to be on your A game every single race, and there will be a rather sophisticated point system that takes all of that into account as well. So that's going to be really quite exceptional how that plays out. Who else can we have a word about this one? Alex Goldschmidt, you're taking ownership of the Nissan team. How do you feel about the upcoming season in Group C?
Well, I'm hoping that I get a bit further up the grid in terms of qualifying, especially the chariot that we'll have under it, the iconic R90C. I mean, if anyone remembers the issues that Mark Blundell had when he pulled first gear going out of the pits in 91 and then found that the broken turbo wastegate would help to snap the neck into the racing seat quite feverishly. But yeah, I think it's an iconic car. You know, this is back in the day when Le Mans Straight was not littered with chicanes as it is now, and it's great to see these cars make a welcome resurgence. And I'm pretty happy with the lineup that I've chosen that have all competed at Le Mans. They're both. Well, all 3 of them are very, very well recognised. And I'm looking forward to seeing how the squad gets on over the forthcoming campaign.
Well, we're currently watching Alan McNish and Scott Dixon out on circuit here at Brno as they pedal their new machines around the circuit. For a couple of the drivers in this field, this could be the first of many appearances, but it's worth noting that Takuma Sato has been out on the circuit in his Onyx and gone fastest of all, a 1:36.384 so far. So Takuma Sato definitely lapping quickest at the present moment, and it'll be interesting to see how he keeps that sort of pace up. We've obviously had a few drivers have their first runs out in the car. Topher Smith, your man Alex Wirtz has been out onto the circuit. First impressions so far that you've got from him about the car?
He's been back into the garage already, and he's given some very good feedback as to the direction that we can go with developing the car. Everyone who's been following will see that we've had a bit of a disappointing season so far in terms of reliability. So anything that Alex can help out with that would be much appreciated from him. He's really great at giving feedback. It's great seeing him back out in the car again, and I just hope that we can continue to push the team forward.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, you're watching on track the first time in about 22 years, roughly, Tom Christensen in a Grand Prix car pushing it to the limit during an organised session. That is absolutely fantastic, and it's great to see Mr. Le Mans, 9-time winner, out on the circuit in what is, of course, now known as the Minecraft of motorsport here at Brno in the Czech Republic during the Young Drivers Test. What an absolutely beautiful sight. And it is really great to see Mr. Le Mans himself out on track. And there is Alan McNish in the other Minardi and currently out there with Scott Dixon. Looks like the only 3 cars on circuit at the moment, but they all have an hour to get out there and put in a decent show. So still plenty of time before they get into the main action. And obviously there are going to be some interesting faces, as we've already mentioned, head out onto the circuit. Now, I have been keeping the next surprise a bit of a secret from our managers, because they know, obviously, that the next round of the championship is at Po. We have also revealed on the earlier stream today that the 8th round of the championship will be taking place on the streets of Birmingham. And they've all been trying to work out what my special surprise is that they are going to be getting involved with during the Birmingham Super Prix. Well, I can now tell them. And do, of course, chaps, feel free to comment as you find out what I'm going to tell you. But there are actually going to be 2 races at the Birmingham Super Prix, not 1. So this is going to be a very different event. There's going to be 2 races. One of them is going to be the main normal Grand Prix, and then the race after that is going to be very different indeed. The cars will be identical, but the drivers, the 2 drivers that you put in, will be different, and you will not get to choose the 2 drivers you're putting in. It is a very special Birmingham celebrity race, And the celebrity race is going to have a bunch of new drivers that you have not seen out on circuit before, certainly in this particular guise. And I think you're really going to like the drivers we've chosen. So, initial reactions from Tom Cairns, first of all. Tom, how do you feel about knowing that you're going to have two celebrities drive your car at the Birmingham Super Prix? Tom Cairns. He's baffled. Well, let's ask Phil Kinch. Phil Kinch, two celebrities driving your car. How do you feel?
Yes, I'm very happy. Based on the current performance of both my drivers, I have no problems with putting celebrities in my car. Brilliant idea. I think it's great to mix up more talent and obviously see you put in the car and see how they go. On top of that, Birmingham is going to be a challenging track, I think, anyway. I've been watching recent Super Prix on YouTube. Very tight, very fast. And it's ever so easy to crash, so I think it's going to be an absolute race of hilarity, to be honest.
Oh dear! Oh goodness me! I'm watching on the stream, and that's an accident from Tom Christensen. So Christensen has pushed the car far too hard and had an accident. That's gone terribly badly wrong. Well, I was going to go to Alex Goldschmidt next, but I fear that's probably not a good idea. He's probably... Don't
know. Look, I won't child. You know me, Jake, too well.
Well, that was interesting.
It was. Now that's definitely a repair bill coming his way.
Oh dear!
Unfortunately, he might have to.
Tom is insured, isn't he? He is insured.
He yes, like the man he is. I'm sure that the Audi clause policy will come into effect very shortly. So that means that the bill goes to Dieter Gas, not to Tom.
Well, he was third. He was third quickest up to that point. So
that's what's impressed me. I mean, the thing is, the test isn't always going to give you the full picture, because now, unfortunately, that means that car's now going to have to be built up and ready for Poe, and it's going to be a quick turnaround for the guys. But yeah, a warning to the celebrities that get put in the cars from us: you break it.
Very true.
But I think at the end of it all, it's gonna spice things up. I'm just wondering how it's going to affect everyone, because obviously it's drivers that we won't have seen before.
Indeed.
So yeah, it's going to add a nice sort of spice to the Grand Prix World Series. Can't really wait to see what's going to happen there. But obviously, when we walked part of the track a couple of years ago, you and me,
yes,
going past Frank Sittner's many BMW dealerships that are scattered across the north. But yeah, I mean, even with the crash there, Tom has still impressed me with the times, but I just want to see what the consistency is from Alan and the consistency from Tom in terms of their pure one-lap pace, but then also how they can put it all together. And we'll make a decision based on that, on who replaces Anthony at the end of the session.
Well, we're watching Pietro Fittipaldi out on circuit at the moment, so we'll let the AGS run around. I should really give these team managers and you guys, the viewers, a bit of an idea as to who these celebrity drivers are. The reason I'm going to reveal them is because you will also have one of these drivers in your team in the Group C Challenge next season. So it's worth getting to know these drivers now, because you'll have one of them in your team if you compete in Group C. So here they are. In BMS Scuderia Italia, it's going to be Denny Swift, the American, and Benedict Delaney, the French lady, who will be racing in that particular squad. Chan Photo, the youngster from Hong Kong in the Chinese Touring Car Championship, alongside Des Truss, who races in the Dirt Off-Road Series in America. Jean Girard is going to be racing for AGS, alongside the very legendary French racer Michel Vaillant, an all-French lineup for AGS then. Then you're going to get the American NASCAR stars Trip Murphy and Russ Wheeler are going to be taking part for Midland Toyota. Then in the next squad, Prost Grand Prix are going to have the American NASCAR ace Cole Trickle, and he's going to be alongside the Chilean IndyCar star Memo Moreno. So that'll be an interesting lineup for those two. Manor is going to have Rajveer Singh, the the NASCAR star, I should say, alongside ARCA ace Dean Whipple. So he's going to be there. And then we'll have Joe Tanto over at the Onyx Grand Prix squad alongside Sam Munro, the American Dirt Modified champion. He's going to get his first taste of single-seaters. Jack Hooper, the Australian kart champion, steps into Minardi for his first single-seater run. And Hank Cooper, ex-Formula 1 driver, is going to be there in with Minardi. And then we've got Bo Brandenburg, the IndyCar racing legend. He'll line up alongside Steve Warson, a Le Mans 24 Hours ace and competitor for the Vaillant team. And then two Vaillant stars, Gabriel Spangenberg, the German, will race alongside Julie Wood of the United States in the Arrows International squad. MasterCard Lola will field Jimmy Bly, the American Pac West star for IndyCar, and Alexis Johnstone, the up-and-coming single-seater ace. And then it is going to be at Simtech. They'll have an all-female lineup. Maggie Payton, the NASCAR sensation, and Kylie Shines, who is taking the American stock car world by storm. And at British American Racing, it's the NASCAR legends Ricky Bobby and Cal Norton Jr. They will line up together in the BAR squad. Now, first impressions from our team manager, Sam Hall. What do you reckon about these celebrity drivers?
Well, it's certainly going to be interesting, isn't it? I'm not going to lie. I am actually just doing some research now that you've revealed these, just to look at who in the hell I've got. I mean,
do you not do your research about racing
drivers? You kind of assume, yes, I may have heard of these people.
They're all top racing drivers. Their stories have been epitomised on the silver screen.
But it will be interesting to see how they can cope in the cars. It's certainly going to be as Goldschmidt advised. I mean, you break it, you bought it. As we've already seen has happened in this test session so far. But yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be different.
Tom Cairns, you're going to have the legendary NASCAR star Cole Trickle drive your car at Birmingham. How do you feel about that?
Well, he may be able to drive as fast as a NASCAR in a film that I've just researched just now. It was played by Tom Cruise, wasn't it?
Yeah, Tom Cruise played him in the film of his life. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's nice to see him get a chance to race in a single-seater venue in a big city like Birmingham. With Memo Moreno as well, he directed the film Driven, which is an all-time classic, as far as I know. So, like with Cole, it'll be a good opportunity for him to shine in a powerful Formula 1 car. I don't know how powerful it'll be in comparison to those he's raced with in the film that was released 19 years ago. In fact, so it's a long time since he's been involved in any form of racing. But it'll be good to have him on board for this one-off special occasion. Now,
of course, Phil Kinch, we've just been seeing your test driver, Pietro Fittipaldi, out on circuit, but you get an all-French lineup for AGS on the streets of Birmingham in Jean Girard, the Formula 1 champion and NASCAR sensation, and Michel Vaillant, the man who's won everything. I mean, what a fantastic combination.
I'm really happy with Michel Vaillant, especially following the exploits of the various liveried cars in his honour. So yes, really happy to have him on board. An all-French lineup for a French Formula 1 team makes complete sense. So yeah, I'm really happy to see. And I echo the same as the other team managers. If they break it, they will buy it. In fact, they might even buy the entire team and can rename it if they fancy it.
Very good point. Alex Goldschmidt, it's going to be an interesting one at Minardi because you've got a very youthful young Australian star in Jack Hooper, who's just conquered the Australian Karting Championship at senior level. And you'll go up against Hank Cooper, who disappeared off the scene from Formula 1 a few years ago and turned up doing sports car racing again. So it'll be interesting to see how he gets on.
Yeah, definitely. A nice mixture of youth and experience there, Jake. I'm looking forward to seeing how Hank gets on. Obviously, if he can handle something like a Volkswagen Beetle that normally runs amok, I'm sure he'll be absolutely fine. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how Jack gets on. He's great behind the wheel of a go-kart, and obviously he'll have that, as the Germans say, the Purpurmeter. Basically, you can feel everything through your backside. Looking forward to seeing how they both get on, but guys, as I have warned,
yes, indeed.
Break it, you bought it.
Messrs. Cooper and Hooper, I'm sure they'll have an absolutely fantastic run of it. Scott Woodwiss at Simtech, you've got two massive stars within your team at Birmingham. I mean, Kylie Shines, who's been absolutely massive in her rise up to NASCAR. She's just joined the Premier category, so that'll be interesting to see how she gets on. And then, of course, the lady who became the first woman to win in NASCAR at the Premier level at the Fontana 500 back in 2005, Maggie Payton. What a lineup!
It'll be interesting, that's for sure. I've got two drivers who predominantly race on ovals, so I don't know what their experience is going to be like on a street circuit, never mind a road course. So I think it'll be intriguing. If they can both get up to speed fairly quickly, then who knows? They could bring one or two surprises, but yeah, as long as they keep the cars in good enough condition for the two guys that are going to race it later on in the main event, that's all that matters. If they can score some good results along the way, then happy days.
Looks like a lot of fun. Over at Super Aguri, Topher Smith is on the pit wall. Topher, how do you feel about your current choices for Birmingham?
Oh, I'm very happy with both my choices, actually. They come from quite different backgrounds, though, so it's going to be interesting to see how their different experiences sort of translate into the Birmingham Super Prix. It starts off with Bo Brandenburg, very famous in Champ Car back in the day, multiple race winner there. And also Steve Wilson drove at Le Mans, so both different experiences there. It'll be interesting to see how they both get on. Who will come out on top, I really don't know out of two. We'll just have to wait and see, but I'm very excited for that lineup.
And it's worth pointing out to everybody watching along that all 26 of those racers are going to be entered into the Group C Challenge. They will be selected to a particular team by ballot. They have all agreed they're quite happy to race with any team within Group C. They're all up for it, and it's going to be a fascinating battle when they take to the streets of Birmingham Super Prix for their first race in the Downforce Grand Prix series as a starting point, and then obviously continue it on as they move up into Group C. We're back on circuit. That is Pietro Fittipaldi coming into the pits after his session, and he's gone 7th fastest in the current crop of races. And out on circuit, there is Stéphane Sarrazin. And he's returned home, his spiritual home. He was the test driver for Prost back in 1999. And, of course, raced for their junior team in Formula 3000, which, of course, is the squad that grew out of the ashes of Appomattox. And Stéphane Sarrazin is going beautifully out on the circuit at the moment. 9th fastest, a 1:37.9. That's definitely quicker than Alguersuari managed, I think. So Sarrazin definitely putting in a bit of a show. And there's rumours going around that he might well be competing in the Group C Challenge as well. He's a good hand in the world of sports car racing. I noticed that Ed Hunter pointed out he was surprised that Sebastian Loeb wasn't chosen for this, considering everybody else in the world of motor racing was. And I have to say, Sebastian Loeb was washing his hair, so that's the reason why he couldn't be with us for this particular test. He has already stated his intent about the Group C Challenge, so there could be some very interesting challenges. Of course, you've got to remember, folks, that this is all fantasy Grand Prix racing. It's good fun and games, and it's not relevant to real life in any way, but we're having fun, and we're enjoying ourselves, and we're keeping the flow and the spirit of motor racing alive and well. In 9 minutes, we'll have a pause on the stream, and we will be obviously honouring and marking the 8 o'clock applause for the NHS, the National Health Service here in the United Kingdom, as the entirety of Great Britain is elected and invited to do. So that is what we will be doing as well, as a group and as an entire stream. So that will be something that we hope you'll join us in. But an absolutely fantastic run from Sarrazin, and he's gone pretty quick on this lap. Also out on the circuit is Raffaele Marcello, and that is the BMS Italia. Raffaele Marcello with his very distinctive black, green and white helmet. And Raffaele Marcello out on circuit, putting it very much around the circuit in fine fettle. This is his first lap out on circuit. And there's Jose Maria Lopez. Now, this will be interesting. The Argentine, of course, was going to be a Formula 1 driver and had signed a contract for 2010 with the US F1 squad that, of course, didn't get to racing Grand Prix racing at all. I'm quite shocked, actually, that the team wasn't able to go racing in the Downforce Grand Prix World Series. They're eligible because they were an entered team, even though they didn't get to race at all. I wonder what their livery would have been. That would have been very interesting. So I guess that's something that could well happen in a future Downforce Grand Prix World Series. This first category, this first campaign, has been a freebie for our Downforce Racing staff before we open up the Group C Sports Car Challenge, and then other championships will come through, and we're thinking of doing a 2-tier series for pretty much everything we run, including a Grand Prix series. There are enough defunct teams from the world of Formula 1 that we could run 2 grids in very much the same way that we're proposing to do with Group C. So we're considering that. We're also looking at the Champ Cars, the Indy Racing League, which would all be run on ovals. Now that has it's not really something you would consider can happen in Grand Prix 2, but it is something that we are looking at doing. We're even considering, if there's enough growth and enough excitement for it, the potential for Formula 3000 from the 90s, Formula 3, Formula Nippon, even touring car racing is possible with Grand Prix 2. And if it goes well on Grand Prix 2, we are looking to expand to potentially looking at GTR 2 and maybe even an R Factor 2 based AI spectating league. Basically any racing sim where we can have a spectator function. We found the perfect use for it, and it's driver and team management. And that's how we're going to make it run. There is Marcello on his first flying lap, and he's done a 32.2. Goodness, he's almost up with Takuma Sato. Very impressive stuff. And Stéphane Sarrazin is still pumping in 138s at the moment. That's similar sort of pace. Well, it's not actually quite as fast as I thought it was. It's not quite the same sort of pace as Alguersuari managed. And there is Marcello, just putting himself through his paces. But there's Jose Maria Lopez in the Simtech. Not a bad start to his career in the car. And this is going to be an absolutely fantastic battle so far. So let's see how things are currently going. We are going to have a brief pause in proceedings so that we can have a look at the lap times thus far. So we can do this, of course, with the particular run that we've got. So here are the times so far. Only a handful of the drivers have gone out over the course of the hour, of course. So that's Takuma Sato currently fastest, just 100th of a second quicker than Alex Wirtz. Tom Christensen and Alec McNish in the Minardis were right there in third and fourth. Kazuki Nakajima and Scott Dixon. Then Pietro Fittipaldi and Guillermo van der Gaard. Stéphane Sarrazin and Jose Maria Lopez, then Esteban Gutierrez and Jolt Baumgartner. Only 12 of the 22 drivers that are going out onto the circuit have been out, so 10 more still to go out, and so we will catch up with them as, of course, they run through. And in about 4 minutes' time, we'll be taking our trip to the blank screen, but we will keep the audio open so that you can applaud for the NHS, and hopefully some of our teams and panels will as well. But it is absolutely fantastic to see the kind of crop of celebrity drivers that will be on the grid at the Birmingham Super Prix event. And, of course, the teams that will be running in Group C. So that's giving you a bit of an idea as to what you can expect now from the particular racing categories that are coming. As Lopez goes out on a 32.3 and actually does a 31.2 for the second sector. So that's pretty exciting stuff. And good to see that these drivers are really starting to pump in some fast lap times early on. Jose Maria Lopez in the Simtech, just getting himself up to speed again as he runs through the sectors. So the battle will continue for the rest of this young driver session. But obviously we know that a lot of our team managers are going to be ducking out of the chat at this particular point. What we will do is we will leave the slideshows on the screen. And when the slideshows are on the screen, that's obviously for you in terms of information to digest about Group C. So you can have a look at the teams that are going to be racing in the category. And we will be able to have our 8 o'clock applause with the NHS. And at about 2 to 3 minutes past the hour, we will come back. Stay with us as we are live here this evening for the Downforce Grand Prix World Series Young Driver Test. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for observing that, and thank you for doing that with us. It's wonderful to have the patronage and the love and support of all of our key workers around the world, and it's great to see so many people here in the United Kingdom showing their appreciation for the NHS key workers who are keeping us very much safe and sound and doing their best to combat COVID-19 during these treacherous times. Back to the fun and games of the Downforce Grand Prix World Series as we go straight back into the action, and let's see how things are getting on. So the Simtech is currently out on circuit at the moment. That is the car being driven by Jose Maria Lopez as he gets himself up to speed and is obviously running around the circuit in fine form. And he will continue on his way around the circuit. There are still 10 of the cars that are yet to go out onto the circuit. And there is Raffaele Marcello, and he's gone 8th quickest over the course of the session, a 1:38.0, which is within about 1.7 seconds or so off the pace of the competitors. So it'll be an interesting run as he is not far off the pace at all, the Italian, who's been a bit of a star in Formula 2 of years gone by. We've had a couple of cars. Valentino Rossi is about to come out onto the circuit. A momentous occasion for the Onyx team. So Valentino Rossi is preparing in the pits. We just have 2 stationary cars in the pits for Midland and Lola, as those 2 cars are obviously not going particularly far in the session. But there is the Argentine, Jose Maria Lopez, who is giving himself the best possible chance of some good laps out on the circuit. And it'll be interesting to see how well these competitors get on. Here comes Valentino Rossi. Motorcycle fans everywhere will be very excited to see this man out on circuit in the car. And he's gone for one of his vintage helmets, it looks like, to get him up to speed. Of course, he technically classifies for this because he did do some tests for Ferrari a few years ago. There was even talk about the potential for having 3-car grids and Valentino Rossi getting a run with Ferrari if he wanted to make the switch from MotoGP to Formula 1. So Valentino Rossi with unfinished business in a Grand Prix car. And Sam Hall, I know this is not your team, but as a motorsport fan, as much as you are a competitor in this particular league, it must be pretty cool seeing Valentino Rossi out there.
Yeah, I mean, Valentino is one of those guys that you want to see racing in anything. He did the Golf 12 Hours. He's done it he did it year just gone in December. So yeah, he likes to get behind the wheel of anything, and he was really quick in the Ferrari when he got a taste of it. Obviously, he's recently had a taste of the Mercedes as well when him and Lewis did their switching of machinery. So yeah, I would love, if someone could open up a seat for Valentino, I'd love to see him in this. Unfortunately, it won't be us. We haven't got the seat. But yeah, just speaking from a romantic point of view, it'd be brilliant, wouldn't it?
Yeah, fantastic. For those who are wondering why he's in that particular helmet, this is based on the race helmet he used in the 2000 MotoGP season. So he's probably gone back old school. 20 years old, this particular skid lid that he's racing with, or driving with, I should say. And he's starting his first flying lap out on circuit. Who else is out on the circuit? Well, it's still Marcello. I think he may be on his route to the pit lane. Jose Maria Lopez is there in position as well. He's just giving himself the best possible run he might have to get himself up to speed. So Jose Maria Lopez still running well. And there is Valentino Rossi getting himself up to speed. So 2 or 3 cars on track at a time. It's not quite the hectic traffic jam that some people might have predicted to see. But certainly cars out on circuit putting themselves through their paces. And Alex Goldschmidt, you must be quietly confident with the likes of Alan McNish and Tom Christensen lapping pretty quick in the Young Drivers Test.
Well, pretty much, third and fourth moment, within 1,000th of a second of each other time. So pretty convinced that it's going to be a very tough decision to make here. I knew I'd be up against it, but I've got to consult with all the the rest of the team, the strategists, the engineers, and make a well-balanced decision. It's not, as I said, it's not going to be easy, but we will find the right person to replace Anthony. And I can't, but without the consultation, I can't really make a discussion. Yeah, thank you, Sam Hall, in the chat.
I'm sorry, if you're going to pronounce strategist, then,
I was trying to
gonna be
remember the
pulled
way it
up on this.
ended. You go and crawl back under that rock.
Look, we found the paintbrushes for all that oil that was going down at that corner earlier. I mean, I'm not having this. I got called out on this earlier. We found the paintbrushes. They're covered in oil. I mean, we had 2 cars go off.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're getting a taste of what the green room banter on Discord is like.
Well, the thing is that you start making accusations. As I said, none of my guys are allowed out of the garage.
Well, you see, this is fine, but the paintbrushes said property of AGS on them.
Really? You're going to go down this?
Wow.
Are you?
Just wow.
You're honestly going to go down this road? Okay.
This is when you
fine.
open up the green room. This is what you people are, not privy to. When
It's
we're
not.
on-
It's not.
Jay-
Do you know what?
into the
It's
world.
not bad Grand Prix banter for a fiver, is it? It's not bad at all. Out on the circuit is Valentino Rossi, as he's trying to get his. He's gone 8th quickest so far, which is not bad. It's been a long time since he's driven a Grand Prix car in anger in a competitive environment. Obviously, the Mercedes drive was a reasonable demo, I suppose, is the best way to describe it. But Rossi's putting himself through his paces, and he's about 2 to 3 tenths of a second down on the sectors pretty much everywhere. I don't know how much of that is the car and how much of that is him, but it's not bad pace at all, really. And it'll be interesting to see how he would get on if either Bruno Senna or Sebastian Bourdais were to step aside. Not that they're likely to.
The one interesting thing for me, Jake, so far is I'm looking at that fastest time by Takuma Sato. He's only a 10th off of what the pole time was. He would have got second on the grid quite comfortably.
Yes, indeed.
So it's almost making us all look a bit foolish that we overlooked him, really.
And that is in the Onyx as well. So it's not even in the BAR. So
are you suggesting that the Onyx is an inferior car to the BAR?
It's
you went there.
All I'm saying is it hasn't won a race yet, and BAR have won 2. So that's quite impressive from Takuma Sato. He's got it competitive.
I mean, we've obviously had to change an engine after Lucas spectacularly crossed the finishing line in 6th, I will add, earlier today, and he had a blown-up engine as he was crossing the line.
Is that the reason why we haven't seen the Manners out on circuit yet?
Yes, well, we want to give both Jess and Mark, we want to give them equal opportunities in the car, so we won't let one out of the garage unless the other one's going out as well, because we want to get a fair back-to-back test. And you can't do that, obviously, if one driver's going around there for 30, 40 laps and the other one only gets 5. So if it means that each driver only gets 5 laps, it's a fair level playing field. I mean, they both paid the same amount of money, so we've got to give them equal opportunity.
That's very true. So here is Luca Giotto. Luca Giotto in the Super Aguri is going to make his way around on this first flying lap. And the Italian, who has had a good journey through to Formula 1. Am I being criticised by my pronunciation, Topher? Do please tell me how I'm supposed to say it.
Pronunciation.
Yeah, that one as well.
Here we go. Start again.
Go on then, Topher. How should I say it?
I believe it is pronounced Luca Giotto.
Giotto. I do apologise.
100% is.
Oh, is it really?
Has anyone else noticed one similarity to the session at the moment and the races on a normal day-to-day basis? There's no Simtex running.
No, there was a Simtech earlier on. How dare you? There was a Simtech. Jose Maria Lopez was out there. Scott, you can't let him have that. You can't let him have that. That's cruel banter. No, he's.
I think you'll find both Simtex have been out at some point. Thank you very
Indeed,
much.
they have. Yes.
Yes, they have.
How dare you? Oh dear, how dare you? Stop it, Sam. Stop it. Handbags at 20
Although,
paces.
to be honest, in Sam's fairness, he's probably just waiting for the rest of the cars to come off the track so there's no oil, just in case when his guys go out, they don't suddenly slip off the track. We'll just make sure there's no oil out there. We can, make sure we just sweep it away for you, just in case.
See, this is what you don't get to hear during race coverage, folks.
Look, Phil,
he sweeps things under the carpet.
Yeah.
Phil, I know
They're spinning tops.
At Manor, we like to put on a show. We don't care about the racing. We put on a show. I mean,
is that what it's called?
Got a car painted in a nothing livery.
Oh,
listen, it's pure, it's black, it's sleek, it looks fast.
It does look cool. It does look cool.
It looks fast. Shame it's not fast.
Where were you again in Marrakesh as my car was leading? I can't remember.
No
I'm
way.
pretty sure as Andre was happily speeding off. And then there was Rossi and Kyalami was happily sort of running away and chasing the leaders. And where were you? No,
good old
no,
banter.
no.
Yeah, with all your supposed speed and with all of our showmanship, we're
Right,
still level in
right.
the constructors championship.
It's gone well, hasn't it?
Let's rein your necks in and let's have a word with Tom Cairns. His man Felipe Nasr is out on the circuit at the moment. How are things looking from his point of view? He seems to have got the pace pretty quick.
Yeah, well, I'm just looking at his times now. I mean, I worked out Saracen's time actually from earlier, and the difference between his and Alguersuari's fastest time from qualifying is not so big. It's only like 100th of a second difference between the pair of them. But looking at Nasr at the moment, in terms of his sector times, he's 0.3 down on Salto.
Yeah, he's finished his run there. You can see there on the screen. He's finished his run on a 1:37.357. That's not bad going at all.
Yeah, would you say 1:37.3?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's within a second of Sato. Not bad at all.
Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, it's definitely quicker than what Alguersuari had set during qualifying earlier. So at least it gives me something to look back on. I'm hoping that Saracen will go out and do another run later in the session, providing the track is not too busy. But so far, it seems to be running smoothly at the moment. No mechanical gremlins or anything like that, which is good news. We've had no mechanical problems really, apart from the punch that De La Rosa had in the race. But yeah, it seems that Nasr and Saracen have been coping fine. Given how busy the track has been for all these drivers.
So there's a few minutes left of the session. What may have to happen is that we go into a second time group to get all of the cars out there. I think there's a slight glitch in that some of the cars are out and some of them are not. But we can extend it a little bit. There's no problem with that. We're just going live tonight. It's a nice little chat show to talk us through the world of the Downforce Grand Prix World Series, which of course is 6 rounds in now. There are 9 to go. And the idea is that for a second season, we'll have 26 teams and 2 grids to make it a nice little league table and get things up to speed. To give us an idea of it, Sam, in all seriousness, what is it like being a team manager in this series? What is the fun element of it, and why should people give it a go?
To be honest, it's a lot of the chat, and you've heard some of just a taste of the mildly abusive banter.
Mainly coming from you.
Yes.
It's mainly coming from
You are the general instigator, Sam.
I do not know what you mean there. But no, it's
Lies, all lies.
Given
I
the
could
current
use a word
climate,
from James
we're
Hunt.
not going to mention the certain C words, but given the current climate, it's quite a good relief to be able to just go onto here, have a good laugh with your friends. It's not a lot of input you have to do. I mean, you choose your drivers, you choose your car, bang, you're pretty much just doing your upgrades throughout the season. You watch the racing, you laugh as your drivers sort of fail to overtake people, you cry when they retire, and yeah, it's a good distraction from what's going on in the world for an hour, 2 hours, however long you spend watching the races and doing things like this. And massive thanks, obviously, to you, Jake, for setting this up. I mean, it's not exactly a 5-minute job, I know that much. So yeah, I think I speak for all of us safely when I say thank you for organising this.
It's good fun. I wanted to do something that was a little bit up-tempo and a little bit more fun and a good experience for people, and to give people something that, can be entertaining. Like it or not, we're in the entertainment business in motor racing, and I wanted to make it entertaining for people. That's the plan. So we're just scrolling through once again the slideshow of each of the competitors that will be taking place in Group C. We are in the second phase of the driver session, so I can hand over to the action on circuit. And there's going to be a few faces here who will want to know how those manners get on. Are they going to get on? Maybe. They might get on, Sam, mightn't they?
Yeah, I believe. Obviously, I am upstairs at the moment. I can't see down into the pit garage, into the virtual pit garage. But no, I believe the engine has now been changed, and we should be getting pretty much straight out on track.
Oh yes, look, there's Marc Marquez. There he is.
There we go, straight out on track. Beautiful. I believe Mark is actually in the car of Lucas that's had that engine change, obviously a driver change as well. But no, it'll be interesting to see how well he can do. I mean, I didn't catch Valentino's times, how close he was to the pace of the actual drivers. But if Mark, it'll be interesting to see who fares better, Mark or Valentino, because obviously they're fierce rivals in MotoGP. Valentino nearing the end of his career. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Mark stacks up compared to him.
And out on circuit, we have, in my opinion, one of the greatest British racing drivers never to have raced in Formula One. And it's for Phil Kinch's AGS team. It's Andy Prio. What a choice, Phil. Absolutely brilliant.
I'm a fan. I have been a long time fan of Andy Prio's and followed his career in World Touring Cars, European Touring Cars, even his brief stints in British Touring Cars. But it's the fact of he had to go in a Williams in 2005, and I thought, you know what? He proved last year in the World Touring Car Cup that he's capable of getting back into a front-wheel drive car,
Indeed,
being successful and being competitive, and of course winning at Macau. Who can ever forget that again? Why not get him back in a Formula One car? Give him a go in a Formula One car and see how he goes. So yeah, hugely honoured that Andy's taken the time out during his very busy off-season to jump into a Formula One car and give us a chance. And yeah, really looking forward to seeing how he goes along with Pietro.
Well, Tom Butterworth's keeping his eyes glued to the screen because the fastest man in this phase of the Young Driver Test is Pascal Wehrlein, the other man who's leapt into the BAR. Kazuki Nakajima was quick in the first phase, and here is the other driver, and that is Pascal Wehrlein. So what will happen is the two sessions will be amalgamated together, and the fastest times will obviously be the ones that will... across the two sessions, the fastest time will be the one that counts in their Young Driver Test. But it is fascinating seeing how these drivers are getting on, because they're obviously at different stages. Oh, what a glorious sight in the 40. It's the original Stig. It's Perry McCarthy, and he's got out the old skid lid from his Andrea Moda days, and there he is out in the 40. Now, what's going to be interesting is how fast will both Perry McCarthy and Jolt Baumgartner go in comparison to Taki Inui and Jean-Denis Delatraz. Will they be able to get the car going quicker than Inui and Delatraz? Your thoughts, Alex? Do you think it's possible?
Well, I'm wondering if Perry was flat broke before he actually got to the test.
Indeed. Other autobiographies. Other autobiographies are available.
Yes, which I currently have on my shelf at the moment.
Good man. That's a plug. That's a plug right there.
There you go, Perry. There you go. Well, it depends on the deal that Dave Goddard has actually struck with the pair of them. Be quite interested to hear from the man himself, but obviously he's not here with us on the pit wall at the minute. But yeah, it could be quite interesting to see how they fare in comparison with Delatraz and Inui. Yeah, we'll see how we get on.
I should point out, Perry McCarthy just overtook Raffaele Marcello. That's an interesting one. That's an interesting one straight away. So the 40 can overtake. It looks as though Dave Goddard had just put the wrong drivers in before, but McCarthy and Baumgartner both seem to be pretty quick.
With you mentioning with Perry McCarthy's flat broke book, I have actually got several copies of it sitting on my bookshelf.
Several copies?
Yes, because I went to interview Perry McCarthy. He was supposed to come to the karting track I was working at in Brentwood to come for an interview. And we'll go do a few laps with him, but he couldn't make it. So he invited me over to his house to interview him. It was supposed to be about a 15-20 minute interview. I think about 2-3 hours later, maybe, several bottles of wine. The interview was eventually over. But no, he's a great guy, great to talk to. Anyone who gets a chance to chat to him, he's particularly vocal on Facebook and social media. So yeah, if you get a chance to chat to him, take advantage of it, because it's brilliant. And his book is, as Alex says, definitely worth the read.
I have a fabulous idea now. I'm going to keep that one. I'm going to keep that one in the memory banks. But that is fantastic stuff. And yes, good to see Perry McCarthy behind the wheel of a Grand Prix car via the Downforce Grand Prix World Series. There's Pascal Wehrlein, fastest in this phase of the session. And Tom Butterworth will be very happy about that. I have noticed, actually, that normally we see the BARs and the Arrows cars going pretty quickly. The BARs have been quick, Topher Smith, but the Arrows have not, in the hand of Guido van der Garde and Esteban Gutierrez. Those two have not been as quick as Messrs. Hulkenberg and Kobayashi.
that's going to be completely dependent on what program they're running. In the case of BAR, they could just be going for outright lap time just to like consolidate their pace that they've shown so far. Whereas with Arrows, they could be running heavy fuel loads to get that sort of data. We just don't really know.
That's true. There's Jessica Hawkins, W Series racer, out on circuit for the first time in a manor. And obviously, it's good to see her out on the circuit. We have a massive amount of support for our W Series friends, and we have many of them within that paddock that we've all hung out with in various different paddocks over the years. The likes of Sarah Moore, Alice Powell, Esme Hawkey, Beitske Visser, Emma Kimmerleinen. So great to see them all making good progress. And here in the Downforce Grand Prix series, we have at least 2 female competitors. And the second of those is Jessica Hawkins. The first, of course, is Susie Wolf, who is the regular racer for the Lola team. But thanks to our celebrity grid, the celebrity grid is going to be a very interesting one that we'll have at the Birmingham Super Prix. All 26 competitors for the Birmingham Super Prix celebrity race have now been confirmed. That's the race that's going on straight after the race grid from the Birmingham Super Prix itself. We're going to try and get the Birmingham Super Prix boys from the social media account up for that one, and we'll do a live broadcast on Sunday for that particular race. The Pau Grand Prix is going to take place tomorrow at about 1:30 British time, just to let you know. And we'll obviously have the Birmingham Super Prix on Sunday, and very appropriately enough, I think it should be on a Sunday, Birmingham Super Prix. So we'll have an absolutely fantastic battle. Sam Hall, you've just touted a young driver race. Do you really want this to happen? Are you sure this is a good idea?
Yeah, well, I mean, sort of, we've got all the machinery here. We've got, I think we've got to be packed up by like 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. So we've got no time restraints. We've got the circuit booked.
Hang on a minute.
I think people have got lives, you know.
Repairing.
Yeah,
I've got one car that needs repairing.
Exactly. Christensen's in dire straits, and the Minardi's been kind of knackered.
Yeah, I mean, that Minardi did have the biggest crash we've seen all year so far. It was spectacular.
The second this session is over, the cars are going to be packed up and off to Pau, and it's quite a trek from Brno.
We'll send them over a couple of engineers. We'll get that car fixed up. I mean,
I'll send you the bill.
I mean, if the Minardi engineers aren't capable of doing it, we can send them over a couple.
I tell you what.
Keep them in your garage, Sam.
I tell you what. Our season finale, round 15, is at a very special racetrack. We might be able to do half-distance races for the celebrity drivers. We'll invite them back for the season finale, which is going to be in North America. I'm not saying where, but the season finale will be at North America. We'll invite the celebrity drivers. A lot of them are Americans, so that will be fine. We'll invite the young drivers along as well. They can have a short race, and then we'll have the main event itself. How does that sound to everybody? We're up for that?
I'm envisaging it being more like the Formula E, sort of the original Formula E. So you have a pit stop, one driver jumps out, the next driver jumps in, just off you go, bang, done.
Well, I tell you what.
Confident in all 4 of our drivers. I mean, if other teams aren't confident in their drivers, that's.
I tell you what. Why don't we do that as a tag team race at the pit stops? At the finale, they will team up and do a pit stop in. Driver gets out, next driver gets in, and we'll do it that way for the season finale. How does that sound? The 2 drivers can team up.
It sounds brilliant, especially as Kobayashi is leading the championship, and the reserve seem to be, at present, they don't seem to have made that much of an impact on the timesheets. So it could close things up.
Well, Kobayashi isn't leading the standings. It's Chev, isn't it?
Oh, yes, Jeff has taken the lead.
Jeff has taken the lead of the standings after his win at Brno. So, yeah, I tell you what we'll do then. For the season finale, we will do a Celebrity All-Star Challenge. The young drivers will get a go in the car. They will start the race. Then they'll hand over to the celebrities at the first pit stops. And depending on whether they want to do half and half on a one-stopper or just a little run for the celebrities and then at the second stop change back to the race driver, entirely up to them how they want to do it. But then, yeah, they can both tag team it and then we'll have a full-length race for them as well.
And obviously, I don't know how much you want to reveal about the Group C championship, and obviously you've said about the cars that we've got, but obviously some of the drivers in this, I believe, are actually going to be racing in that Group C championship.
Some of them some of them have been nominated for that, either on the current Grand Prix World Series grid or on the Young Driver Test. So why not get them up to speed a little bit? This will be interesting. Edward Hunter has written on the stream, somebody should make a Hollywood movie about Perry's F1 career based on his autobiography. You're going to love this. Maybe Jason Statham could play him. Yes! Yes! Yeah, do it!
There's mileage in that. There's
definite mileage in that. That's got to happen. Jason, you know it makes sense. Oh, man.
I think the comments from Tom Buttersworth are even funnier. Saying about, obviously, daughter Lily and going like, she keeps calling Helmut Marko Unky Helmet, though, which is frankly terrifying.
That is very terrifying. Yeah, absolutely.
Has something happened? Is there a link up with Red Bull? Oh, yeah, there is Red Bull on the Arrows cast, so that's quite worrying there.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yes, indeed it is.
I mean, there's sponsorship there. There's a conflict of interest. Hulkenberg, obviously, he's been penalised for ramming another driver off the track earlier. He rammed Stoffel Van Dorn off the track.
Indeed, yes.
I believe he's starting, and the race officials can feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe he's starting at the back at Poe, which that's a hell of a penalty.
Indeed he is, yes. It was announced very shortly to our team managers that there is going to be a penalty handed over to Nico Hulkenberg following his actions in the earlier race. The race result stands, but he will start the Poe Grand Prix from the back of the grid.
Well, he'll definitely have a bit of a job then, Jake, because that would be the most difficult top gear from the rear I think anyone had to attest the racing side of things, eh?
I have no comment to make on the matter.
There you go.
First time ever, neither do I.
No, I can't think of anything better that's already been made up for that.
I can't think of anything that's legal to respond to.
No, me neither. Dear oh dear.
Fair, you probably will.
Yes, almost certainly. Shall we get back to the action? I've just shown the stream once again, the celebrity drivers that will be making their way onto the circuit at the Birmingham Super Prix once again, just to give them a chance to see. And don't forget, all 26 of these drivers will also be competing in the Group C Challenge. They will be allocated to each team at random during the April 11th draw. So all team managers that are signed up and confirmed will get their team, and then each team will be allocated their celebrity driver, and it's going to be one of these 26. We will do a fact file on each of the drivers, which will be happening during the live stream, and people can see the movies based on their incredible lives via various different means: DVD, Blu-ray, Netflix, Amazon Prime. They're all there in various different forms, and these celebrities, racing drivers that have been immortalised on silver screen, they're going to have an absolutely fantastic time when they get involved in the world of the Downforce Grand Prix World Series. It's really going to be quite spectacular, and we're going to see some truly exceptional superstar drivers out on the circuit. I'm really excited about this, Topher. I think we're going to see some really exciting racers out there putting on a bit of a show.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, any sort of motor racing is exciting. There's no getting around there, really. Just anything with 4 wheels or 2 wheels, and then it's absolutely fantastic to watch. And I think having this sort of action on the Downforce channel is really important at this time, being able to put on these sorts of championships for people who are suffering those withdrawal symptoms of motorsport at the moment.
Well, one of the other reasons we decided to go down this route, because it's A, very fun, and B, a lot of competitors don't have the thousands of pounds wherewithal to go racing on iRacing or Race Room or R Factor 2. They don't have steering wheels, they don't have pedals, they don't have race rigs, they can't be competitive. So this is something that's a little bit more laid back. It's a little bit more fun, it's a little bit more intuitive. It's about the love of the sport rather than what technology you've got, what your budget is to play with. You can have some fun, you can enjoy yourselves. And speaking of fun, out on the circuit is DTM champion and former McLaren F1 test driver Gary Paffett is out on circuit at the moment in the BMS Italia and going pretty well. A 1:38.5 from a car that's meant to be down on power compared to some of the others, and he's gone third quickest within 2.2 seconds of the pace of Pascal Wehrlein. Not bad for his first run. So he's out there doing a good job. Who else have we got out on circuit at the present moment? Oh, just Gary Paffett at the present moment. So we'll see how he gets on. And obviously now I'm fairly sure that's pretty much all 20 of the cars, as far as I can tell, have been out on circuit, unless someone's going to tell me that they have been waiting to see somebody out on circuit and have missed them. I think that's pretty much everybody so far. So interesting stuff here at Brno, and obviously Gary Paffett just putting his car through his paces. Edward Hunter asks, where is Michael Delaney? Now, I should point out, Michael Delaney was last competitive in about 1970. So we felt that
Just
he was.
a little while.
Yeah, we felt it was.
decades
That
back.
was 50 years ago. So we felt that. Oh, that's a point. This year is the 50th anniversary of the Le Mans movie. Who is up for a watch along at some point? Who's up for a watch along of Le Mans? If you have a copy at home, we will do it via the Downforce stream. We'll have cameras on us because obviously we're not allowed to show the movie itself because that would be against copyright. But maybe we can set up like Gogglebox, essentially, a watch along on YouTube of a couple of us with cameras on Zoom watching the movie, and we can chat away. We can chat over the top of it as well because there's no script, so it's fine. We can talk along and you won't miss anything. It's absolutely fine, no problem at all.
For a moment, I did fear that you were going to say who's up for doing a Le Mans 24 hours in 24 hours.
I'm not sure
would be
that.
up for that.
I should point out that's not possible on Grand Prix 2. It might be possible on GTR 2, but it certainly
Is
isn't
there
possible on Grand Prix 2.
something? If we can find that there's something it is possible on, the Le Mans, has it been postponed yet? Has the Le Mans been postponed?
Yes, it has.
Yeah,
To
until
September.
September.
To September, it has been.
So when the original date is, we could theoretically run.
You're a
the Le
brave
Mans
man.
24
You're a
hours.
brave man.
But what a lot of people might not know about Jake is the fact that he has done the T-side 24 hours karting and didn't stop.
Yeah,
if memory
I
serves me
did
correctly.
wonder. I did wonder if this was going to come up, and yes, I have been touted by Chris McCarthy as the most insane commentator in the entire world because I did do all 24 hours of the T-side 24-hour karting event non-stop. I did do that. Yes.
And what was the lawnmower endurance racing?
Oh,
that
that's
you
12
partook in?
hours. That's 12, and
That was only 12 hours.
Again,
and you were
I-
driving in that, weren't you?
I know I didn't drive in it. I've never driven in the 12-hour. It's something I have contemplated, and it runs in August, so we have got time for it not to be cancelled. Hopefully, if things, get better, we might be able to go racing again by August. So we could do the 12-hour, and we are hoping to get some cameras up this year, because we've done a radio broadcast every year since 2015. But now we're thinking about putting some cameras in the commentary box and overlooking the start-finish line and doing a sort of an OBS live stream to YouTube and Facebook and whatever, and actually have a video feed this year for the first time. So we're working on that. But
So
yeah.
if some amount of sponsorship or how much we need to go racing in that. Say, I know you would not complain about partaking. I would not complain about.
Oh, I would
partaking.
totally race it. Yeah, totally.
So what we should do is
well,
suggest that if there's
I'm the
anyone
only one
listening-
on the entire Downforce team that has any experience driving one, because I have actually done all three classes at Braintree. I had a go.
Exactly,
yeah.
and it's always brilliant to watch. It's hilarious. Anyone who hasn't seen lawnmower racing, go and watch it. It's hilarious. It's brilliant.
And also the fact that Jake is actually the only one, all of us in the pit lane, that has actually got a Dead Bull Racing suit.
I have got a Dead Bull Racing suit.
And I do
yes.
have the photograph to prove it as well.
Yes, I have got a Dead Bull Racing suit, and that is quite an incredible artifact, and I'm never, ever getting rid of that. Ever, ever,
And you've
ever.
also got a rather shiny new suit as well, haven't you? That could do with getting a few
Yes,
grass stains on it.
That's true,
'Cause
yeah.
you made the classic mistake of going for a white suit.
It's not a mistake. It's tactical, honestly. Dear, oh dear.
Not
When-
tactical at all.
when the Honda drivers, when Matt Neal and Gordon Shedden had white race suits in their touring cars, Jason Plato burst out laughing at them, saying, "I've made that mistake before."
Yeah, okay, I'll give you that. But it looks good with the sponsors. It looks really good with the sponsors.
It does look very nice. I cannot disagree with you on that. I
It
will
looks
take the
cool.
D, but it is brilliant.
Oh, Topher
There's,
Smith.
there's a certain episode of Family Feud that comes to mind.
Oh, yes.
Steve Harvey hosting with the IndyCar drivers on there.
Oh, really?
And they were talking about why it's a mistake to wear white race suits. And James Hinchcliffe will certainly testify to this after his run. I think it was at Detroit a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
About when you have to go to the toilet in the middle of a race.
I had no idea they'd done an IndyCar round at a Family Feud. I'm watching that. I'm finding that on YouTube, definitely. And you, Topher, you've come up with an amazing idea. You've come up with an amazing idea, which is to do a watch-along of Driven. Now there's an idea.
Sudden silence on that one.
Yeah.
Now he's been caught out.
Nobody
I was
wants to
muted,
do
that
it.
was all. I was
Nobody-
just busy sending the photo to the group chat.
Nobody wants to do the driven one. Okay, that's fine. No worries. Celebrity drivers in that are going to be in this current series.
Such an awful movie. Like, if you want to be put off motor racing, watch Driven.
Well, 4 of the drivers are going to be in the Group C challenge. Obviously, Joe Tanto, Jimmy Bly, Bo Brandenburg, and Memo Moreno will all be racing in the Group C challenge. So at least they've got a new home.
And also, Bro Brandenburg is on my team at the Birmingham Grand Prix.
He is indeed. Bo Brandenburg will be on your team. And fair play to a multiple IndyCar champion being on your squad. That's not bad. On track is Perry McCarthy. Perry McCarthy is there in the 40. He's gone back out for another run. He's determined. I think he thinks that he's a better driver than Taki Inui and Jean-Denis Delatraz put together. And he's putting himself in the frame for a race drive here. He wants to give this a proper go. Wouldn't it be great if he could get a decent top 10 finish in the 40? Or get a podium. I think a podium for Perry McCarthy in a 40. That'd be wonderful.
Has he now completed more laps in a 40 than he ever completed in an Andrea Moda?
I was waiting for that
I'm
one.
certain he's now done more laps in the 40.
I think you're
Had a
right.
proper go.
Breaking
driving
news from the
Formula
young
1
driver
car.
test.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everyone should now be stopping associating Perry McCarthy with Andrea Moda. He's now been with 40 for longer. He's done more
Yeah,
laps.
he has done more laps in a 40. That is quite staggeringly true. And yes, Perry McCarthy coming in. And we are getting close to the end of our young driver test session. I think there's only really time for a handful of drivers to go out. Well, there's a bit of a snapshot. McCarthy is 5th, slightly quicker than Jess Hawkins. So that's pretty good going. Pascal Wehrlein's going to go out for another go by the look of it. So we'll join him out on track very shortly. But I'm just going to put the Group C teams up on the screen again, just so that the fans can see the sort of teams that are up for grabs and the kind of competitors that they'll be racing against, the teams that will be there. It's good fun and it's good banter and it's downforce style as we kind of move into our new era of competitive competition. Very excited to see what this championship comes up with. We have actually got the aggregate times now, so I think we can put on the screen the times from each of the sessions. So I'm just going to double check and make sure that we have got them all together. And all 20 drivers have indeed gone out, and all 22 drivers, in fact, have indeed gone out onto the circuit. So we can conclude the young driver test. In fact, it has come to an end, so that is good to see. So we will put up the results on the screen, and you can all see. You've all been waiting. You've all been wondering just how fast your drivers are. Well, we can now reveal how competitive they are. There you go. Pascal Wehrlein, fastest from the session, in front of Takuma Sato and Alexander Wurz in 3rd position. Christensen and McNish were pretty quick. Kazuki Nakajima in 6th position from Scott Dixon and Pietro Fittipaldi. Valentino Rossi and Andy Prio also up in the top 10. Good performances from them. Felipe Nasr there in 11th position in front of Gary Paffett. And then we have Raffaele Marcello. Marcello put in a decent run there. Apologies, I'm just having a slight issue with the our control deck has had some moments. You may have been with us at Marrakesh when we had a very, very long wait for the action. That sort of problem seems to have returned. I do apologise. We'll get onto it very, very quickly. And once we're back into it, it'll all be fine. But certainly the top 14 are all there together in position. And Jose Maria Lopez, 15th fastest for the Simtech team. Stefan Sarrazin in 16th place in front of Luca Giotto. And then Esteban Gutierrez from Jolt Baumgartner, who didn't get much out of the 40, although got as much as Perry McCarthy did. And they're both about 2.6 seconds off the pace. And then Jessica Hawkins, 21st for Manor, and Marc Marquez. I'm afraid to say he didn't really put in much of a show. He obviously just wanted one run and then got out and think, okay, fair enough. No problem at all. So there is the final results. So just a handful of drivers that were basically holding names there from the actual series. So let's talk to some of our team managers then about how they feel things have gone. Scott Woodwiss, Lopez obviously doing a reasonably good job. How do you feel the young driver test has gone from your point of view?
I'm pretty impressed with how Scott got on, getting himself up into 6th and doing a time which I believe was quicker than both of our guys managed in the qualifying session.
A 1:36.925, yes, very quick.
So that's certainly going to give us some food for thought in terms of someone that in terms of how we proceed going forwards. Obviously, we want to wait for other developments depending on if any other teams decide to switch drivers in case there may be one or two options to pick up that way, truthfully. But yeah, I mean, with the fact that Stoffel did a 1 minute 37.1 in qualifying earlier on today, and Scott Dixon, with maybe a considerably clearer track, has gone ahead and done a 1:36.9, just shows that he's got some good pace off the bat, and comparing that to Marcus, who was down to 37.2. So interesting food for thought, and I'll have to go away and have a look at it. We've also got obviously upgrades coming with our sort of boost of funding being one of the teams in the bottom six. So we're going to go away and decide what we're going to do with that, and whether that involves a driver change as well. And hopefully we can come to Po with a much improved car, at least in terms of performance, and see if we can put to use the two drivers we've got. I think obviously Stoffel's very, very quick. It's just that he's had a bit of a bad rub of the green in terms of mechanical luck, in terms of reliability. And truthfully, Scott's impressed me with this test, so who knows? Watch this space.
Interesting stuff. So, that sounds pretty impressive. Topher Smith, Alexander Wirtz doing very well then for the Super Aguri squad in third position on a 1:36.394. Not bad going at all.
Well, that session went pretty much as expected for us. In Alexander Wirtz, he's massively experienced in Formula One and Le Mans, so we're expecting him to run well. He's given great feedback to the team, and third place is a very good day's work for him. As for Giotto, and yes, Jake, it is Giotto.
Sorry, Luca Giotto.
It is the first time that he has been in a Formula One car since 2017, so we weren't expecting any sort of game-changing lap times from him. We just wanted to give him some lap times, wanted to give him some time on the track, see how he gets on, and he performed rather admirably, I think. I mean, he's in the bottom half of the field, but he's given very positive feedback. He's felt comfortable in the car, and I'm sure he'll be with us for a long time.
Fantastic stuff. Alex Goldschmidt, you have got some rather difficult decisions to make here, because obviously you announced earlier today that Anthony Davidson had parted ways with Minardi. Marc Genet, of course, staying on, but Tom Christensen a 1:36.552, Alan McNish a 1:36.553. That's a thousandth of a second in it. Are you flipping a coin as to who gets the drive?
No, we've actually had a significant debrief after obviously the impact that Tom's had.
Oh right, okay.
But it's been like we sat down with both drivers together, so at least there's no blinkers or sort of just putting the wool over someone's eyes and saying, yeah, you got the drive. Would rather. So in main aspects, in terms of the consistency, I think Alan has graciously accepted our offer. He now will join Marc Genet for Po. Obviously, with the hefty crash that Tom had, he said he's really apologetic about it and knew that it blew his chances for a race seat. So we've now got our lineup. I mean, we're going to keep Tom on as a development driver, but we've got someone joining him with the development for the car, and I'm going to bring back an old name, one that is actually current in Formula One, but it's not the son, it's the father. Jos the Boss will be joining us as part of the development team here at Minardi.
No way! That's going to be interesting. Yep. Excellent. Okay, Jos Verstappen returning to Minardi for the first time in 17 years. That'll be interesting. So you heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Who else can we have a brief word with after the session? Phil Kinch. Good to see Andy Prio putting himself through his paces and in the top 10 as well. You must be quite happy with that.
I am actually. After the absolute disaster of today's race, I'm really happy to see the performance of both drivers, especially from Prio. He's kept himself in the top 10, as you say, and he's just within a whisker of a second of the rest of the teams. But I'm also really happy with how Pietro Fittipaldi's done, and knowing that we have a seat available, having parted ways with Mr. Rossi very quickly this afternoon.
That's Alexander Rossi, we should just point out, because you're looking at Valentino Rossi on the screen, but that's Alex Rossi that's parted ways.
Having parted ways with Alex Rossi this afternoon after a difficult part to the season, I think we can agree. We're definitely going to have one of these drivers in the seat for Po for the next race. Decisions to be made and announcements to be made to follow.
I am excited to see which of them you are going to choose. Tom Cairns, not a bad run from Felipe Nasr in the Prost. He looked pretty hot out there.
Yeah, well, his time actually was, I think it was something like 6 tenths faster than what Alguersuari or Saracen put. I mean, I didn't quite see Saracen's best time on the classification, so you might want to just quickly have a look at that. But unlike what Phil and Alex have done in terms of changing the driver lineup, I've decided to be generous and actually give Alguersuari 2 more races to prove that he can do it.
Okay.
Because with this heavy budget that's coming in, that will allow me to take the opportunity to improve the car for the next 2 races. I feel that with this, I think will help Jaime's confidence with the car and also boost Pedro de la Rosa's chances of actually fighting for a podium finish rather than just having to settle for the bottom half of the points for each and every race, really. So I think, especially on street circuits like Pau and Birmingham, we need to take qualifying more seriously than I feel that we have done in the opening 6 rounds of this championship, and actually push the team forward and actually fighting for podiums. I don't think we'll be ready for wins yet, but I think if we trouble the likes of Arrows and BAR and those who have been fighting for wins, like Minardi and the other team that's won the season, AGS that is, then we should be within a shout. But in the meantime, I want to make sure that the car is in a much more competitive state than it has been in the opening 6 rounds, despite the result that we've had today with getting both cars in the points.
Okay, good to see. So Jaime Alguersuari stays at Prost. That is the headline. Good to hear. Finally, let's turn to Sam Hall. Sam, you've had Jessica Hawkins and Marc Marquez in the car. Obviously, both with a little bit of experience in a Formula One car, but they seem to have got themselves relatively up to speed. It looks like there could be some more development from them.
Like I said, this was sort of never really about giving them a driver. It was for the championship. It was about getting them experience, seeing how they could cope in the car. We have been up and down the pit lane talking to a few drivers who have been involved in the session, sort of seeing where their loyalties lie, if they can be coerced elsewhere. And we've got 3 or 4 drivers actually that have finished in the top 10 who are quite interested in taking one of our 2 seats. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what our lineup is for the next race. There might be a change, there might not. Watch this space.
All sounds pretty interesting. We're going to leave you with our slideshow of the celebrity drivers that are going to be taking place in the Downforce Grand Prix World Series Birmingham Super Prix Pro race that is going to be taking place on the same day as the Birmingham Super Prix. And that'll all be happening on Sunday afternoon. It's going to be really exciting to see how that all shapes up. We're quite excited to see what will happen and how all of the activity and the drama will take place. And all 26 of these celebrity guests that will be taking place at Birmingham Super Prix will also get their run in the Group C Challenge. And we have also stated that the season finale this year of the Downforce Grand Prix World Series will also see a bonus race, and that will have the young drivers getting a crack in the car alongside the celebrities, and they will do a Formula E style driver change they'll do a Formula E style driver change at their pit stops. It's going to be really exciting to see. First time it's ever happened in a Grand Prix racing car, but as long as they can do it in under 10 seconds, I'm sure it will all be fine and dandy. It's going to be really exciting to see how they get that done. So we'll get to see some pretty spectacular races out on the circuit, I'm sure. And we will have some absolutely brilliant racing when we get racing once again. Tomorrow night, of course, is going to be the next big battle. And that is going to come from the streets of Pau in France. The Grand Prix de Pau is going to be absolutely fantastic. Do join us for it at 1:30 in the afternoon, as we will be back again with live action and drama aplenty. And of course, if you want to get involved in Group C, well, you can obviously email downforceuk@hotmail.co.uk, register your interest as a team manager. The first 13 entries will get the chance to pick their team of choice. The other 13 will be put into the live draw on April the 11th, for which team they will be allocated, and everybody will be allocated a celebrity driver. You can then choose the 3 drivers of your choice over the age of 30 and have never won the number 1 24 hours. It's all in the name of fun and games through this period of non-motorsport. It's fun, it's entertaining, and it's a good laugh. That's what we do at Downforce Racing. I'm Jake Sanson. See you tomorrow for the Grand Prix de Pau.